Alright, what is up? It's your boy, the Knologist. We're back again with the question, next greater element. What's so great about these elements? We will find out. Next greater element, some element x is the first greater element to the right of x in the same array. You're given two distinct zero-indexed integers array. Two distinct zero-indexed where nums 1 and nums 2, where nums 1 is the subset of nums 2. Okay. For each oh my god, this is like such a poorly worded question. So for each I is less than nums 1 length, find the index j such that nums 1 I equals nums 2 j, and determine the next greater element of nums 2 j in nums 2. Okay, okay. Return an array ants of length num1 length such that ant I is the next greater element as described. Okay. Next greater element for each value of nums 1 is as follows. 4 is underlined in nums 2, since there's no greater element. So the answer is -1. Four is underlined in nums 2. There is no next greater element. 1 is underlined nums 2. The next greater element is 3. Two is underlined in nums 2. Oh, because it's going 4, 1, 2. Okay. Okay, so you basically just go in the order that it's at. is always going to be underlined in nums2. So 2 is underlined. The next greater element of some element x in an array is the first greater element that is to the right of x in the same array. Okay, so is there a next element to the right over here? Okay, so let's say 2. It's got 3, 4. Let's say 4. There's nothing after 4. Okay. I have to produce an array. What do we do next? So I guess we just do what the instructions say, okay? for unarranged thing. So I'm going to go nums1I. Nums1I is the value I'm checking. I have to find the index in nums2. So for I, find the index in nums2 that has it. So we're doing a for loop in there to find the index. And then I have to check all the indexes after. So I could just make it length. So now it's going to be that val equals nums1I. So first I'm going to create this list of negative ones. That way it's always going to be negative one. And if it is something greater, the very next element, then I will add it. So I'm going from, I get the value in nums1, so 4, find it in nums2, so underline 4, then I go from that location to the end. If there's nothing greater, then I leave it as -1. If it is, I swap it. I swap the -1 in this array with that value that is greater. So let's try it. If nums2 at j is greater than the val, because final is going to be the same length as nums1. So this val is what we're comparing in nums2. So that means we swap the same -1. So for example, if this is 4, 1, 2, this would be -1, -1, -1. 1 we reference to here. 3 is greater, so I swap the 3. The rest stays once. So if nums2 is greater than that, then this is basically the same as saying underline this location and keep going to the right. Then final I equals val. No, final I equals nums2j. And then I can break. So that way it takes me out of this for loop and it goes to the next iteration of the, because break takes you out of one loop. So I break out of this loop, go back in, and then repeat the process until the end. That should be sufficient. It's at minimum length 1, so then I just return final. That makes sense to me. So basically what I'm doing is create an array equal to the length of nums1. Because nums1 is what we're going to be referencing in nums2, right? So if it's 4, 1, 2, I'm going to have a corresponding final array of 4, 1, 2 is 3 elements, so I'm going to have 1, 1, 1, -1, -1, -1, right? So it's already in fail state. If you hit -1s, it's a fail, right? We didn't find anything. Then this whole loop here is checking every element in nums1. So if it's 4, I look for 4 in nums2. And then I see if there's anything after that spot in nums2 that's greater. If it is, I take that value and I put it in the final slot. So 4, nothing's greater. Boom. 1, I find 1 here. 3 is greater, so I swap 1 with the -1 in final. I swap this 3 with the -1 in final. Then I go to 2. 2's at the end of the array. There's nothing left to check. So it stays as -1 in the final, right? So let's try it. Accepted. And there you have it. all you have to do is pretty much, and it beats 22.6% of other solutions, all you have to do is follow the instructions here. It gives you for each element in 0 to nums length, nums1 length. So what I do? 0 to nums1 length. Then I do find the index j such that nums1i equals nums2j. So nums1i is val, and I want to find the j element where it's equal. So I have to index, find the index j that's in nums2 that's equal to nums1i. So I take this value and I put index val, so it spits out the index of that value in nums2. So num2 location, that's why I call it num2 location. See, these variables have to be named after what it does. Nums2 location is equal to val. So I get nums1i here and nums2j, which is this. That's where I start my loop in the second array. So this is where I make the underline. So if I got 4, I start it at nums2j, 4 in nums2, and then I keep going to the right. So that's why I go all the way to the length of nums2 from num2 location. And then if something is greater, the first element, so it says the next greater element, right? So all I have to find is if I find the corresponding element, so if I find, let's say 1, go to nums2, I find 1, the next greater element to the right is 3. So I take this 3 and I put it in the location of 1 in the output. And that is it. So passes all the tests, passes the submission. So if you like this question, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, comment below. Knologist out.